Welcome to Bologna, the city of food, history, and endless charm.
Now, when we think of visiting a city in Italy, we know there's going to be great food, some majestic churches, and some delicious drinks.
Since we've been calling Bologna home for the past couple of months, we want to show you what it's all about. First things first, Bologna is known as the food capital of Italy, and there is no shortage of absolutely scrumptious foods to try here in the city.
Bologna is also known for its medieval architecture, as well as one of the largest churches in the world that remains unfinished today. Even though it is wintertime right now, this one-day itinerary can be done at any time of year.
Whether you're here for the rich pasta, the stunning medieval architecture, or La Dolce Vita, Bologna is an incredible place to visit.
Grab your walking shoes and don't forget that appetite, because Bologna is waiting for you.
Let's get tipsy, y'all.
Now, when you're doing research on Bologna, you'll probably see it referred to by its three nicknames: La Rossa, La Grassa, and La Dotta. La Rossa is the red, and that is reflective of the red hues of the buildings and towers. La Grassa, the fat, for all of the delicious food. And La Dotta, or the learned, which is reflective of Bologna being home to the oldest continuously operating university in the world, dating back to 1088.
Well, I wish this video could cover everything there is to see and do in Bologna. The reality of it is, we're just doing it for one day. With that being said, we are gonna miss some things. We're not going to go over to the university. That will be a separate video potentially in the future. And we're also gonna stay pretty central into the Piazza Maggiore area, with the exception of suggesting that you go up to San Luca. You have to start your day here in Bologna at one of the many cafes in the city, like this one behind us, or this one, like this one, or this one, which happens to be where we're going to go get some coffee and breakfast. An important note is that the Italians typically don't do a big breakfast, let alone a savory breakfast. Most Italians do a coffee and some pastry standing at the bar if they're out and about for the day.
Now that you've got coffee and breakfast in you, it is time to start at Bologna's most iconic landmarks, the two towers, or Le Due Torri. Built back in the 12th century, these towers were kind of a status symbol, if you will, for the noble families, a trend to build towers as a sign of wealth. It's a bit like having the most recent gadget here in today's times. At one point, Bologna was believed to have had over 100 towers dotting its skyline, earning it the nickname the City of Towers. The Asinelli Tower, the taller of the two, stands at about 97 meters high, or about 320 feet, and was completed around 1119. And the fun fact about it, it's the tallest leaning medieval tower in the world. Clocking in at about 48 meters tall, or about 160 feet, the Garasenda Tower is about half the size of its big brother Asinelli. It initially stood about 60 meters tall, just shy of 200 feet, before being lowered in the 14th century due to instability in the ground, which has left it leaning rather dramatically. The tower is leaning so badly and at such risk of a collapse that in late 2023, the city of Bologna actually began constructing a barrier to contain debris if and when it does fall. So unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, we can only get so close to these towers as work continues to try to prevent a collapse.
Piazza Maggiore is the beating heart of Bologna. It has been popular for both political and social aspects of life here since the 13th century. I'm surrounded by the famous Basilica over here, as well as a palace over here.
Construction began on the Basilica di San Petronio back in 1390, and it's not only the biggest church in all of Bologna, but it was originally intended to be the biggest church in the world. And if it looks unfinished, that's because it is. Once the Vatican City caught wind of the plans for this to be the biggest church in the world, they put the kibosh on that very quickly. You've got the stark contrast of the beautiful ornate on the bottom half and then the unfinished upper.
Inside is no less impressive. This church is over 430 feet long and over 215 feet wide, making it the 10th largest church in the world by volume. And we're talking about the church outside, so we can be respectful inside. There is actually a sundial that is in the church as well. Designed by an astronomer in the 17th century, the meridian line is a sundial that claims to be working, although as we've been here the last 7 months, we have yet to see it working correctly. If you've been to the Basilica and you've seen the sundial working, please let us know. Drop us a comment below. I'd love to know your experience. There are 7 secrets here in Bologna. Most of them are free to visit. One of them has actually never been seen, hence why it's a secret. Right here near Piazza Maggiore, you can go visit the Whispering Wall. This structure, the way it was built, is that you can stand in different corners and then you can whisper to each other and hear it. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, make sure you do it early in the morning or when there's not people around. Otherwise, you'll just look silly standing in a corner with your face in the corner because you can't hear with all the commotion.
Oh my God, I could actually really hear that really, really well. The way this is set up is that you can stand in opposite corners and it's like a wireless telephone or a whispering wall, depending on who you speak with. So you want to stand in that corner here and this corner here.
Neptune's fountain right behind me is a masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture. It was designed by Gian Bologna back in the 16th century. When you're here, look for some of the more what I might call cheeky details, like where the water is coming out in the different spouts, as well as if you see that symbolic trident, if it looks familiar to you, it was the inspiration for the Maserati logo.
Bologna's Biblioteca Salaborsa is so much more than a library. It is a ticket to the ancient society. Beneath its modern floors lies a settlement that is over 2,000 years old. These ruins date back to the Etruscans from the 2nd century BC. This is a free activity that you can do in Bologna. It is part of the library, so once you enter, you just hang a left, go down the stairs, and you'll find the entrance to the archaeological site. Once you're exploring the Biblioteca, the Piazza, and the church, you can head just a quick couple blocks over to Santo Stefano. The Basilica Santuario Santo Stefano, or the 7 churches, is one of the most ancient and interesting churches here in Bologna. While only 4 of the 7 churches remain, this complex still embodies the history, faith, and architectural evolution. This complex was built between the 5th and 12th centuries on the site of an ancient Roman temple dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Isis.
So now we're going to head to the Quadrilatero, which dates back to the Roman times, gets its name from the 4 streets that create its boundaries. Today, you can find markets, shops, restaurants, and the Quadrilatero is a really great place for you to try a little bit of everything that makes Bologna so unique, like a few of these things. Now, my personal favorite is mortadella, but it is a little bit cold today, as you can tell. So in the cold weather, I really love the tortellini in brodo.
So for lunch, we decided to come to La Proscuitteria, which is known for their epic meat boards. We got these small, and this is ridiculous. But one of the reasons we wanted to come here, we think we might have pasta later on tonight, or a more formal sit down. This is definitely less formal, a little bit more affordable if you're looking to save some money. And they have something that Bologna is known for, which is mortadella.
They have over 50 different types of wine, ranging from local to regional to nationwide. So you can definitely stop here to get an incredible charcuterie board and a glass of wine.
If you're not in the mood for a meat and cheese board, there are plenty of options in and around Piazza Maggiore, and we would recommend that you guys start here.
If you're looking for a fun and convenient way to go see one of Bologna's other iconic landmarks, which is Madonna di St. Luca, the church up on the hill, the St. Luca Express is a very easy and convenient way to do this. The train ride is about 20 minutes long and takes you through the city, eventually ending at San Luca. Now, if you want to save 13 euros per person, you could walk. It's about 5 kilometers here from the city center. However, it is uphill through 666 arches. So what we would recommend is that you do it round trip, or what we did previously when we visited is we took the train up and we walked back. Disclaimer though, if you're older than 30 years old, your knees will start to hurt. Bologna is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the porticos. There's actually over 30 miles of porticos in and around Bologna, and it has the world's longest portico at over 3,800 meters, which is around 2.3 miles long.
This clock tower dates back to the 13th century, and as you can see behind me, you have great views of all of the iconic landmarks here in Bologna. We've got the Basilica here, we've got the two towers, we've got Piazza Maggiore right behind me. On the other side of the tower, you can see up to San Luca as well. You get 360-degree views of all of Bologna. A really great view up here.
If you're looking to get a view here in Bologna, there are a couple places to do it. You could do it here at the clock tower, which gives you an unparalleled view of Piazza Maggiore behind me. Or you could do Torri Prendi Party, which is open on Sundays only. We did that last year. It was absolutely awesome. And that tower right there. If you don't feel like climbing and you just want to relax and enjoy yourself, there are a bunch of rooftops. We would recommend Terrazza Mazzurani. It's down here south of town. So you do have several options if you're looking to get an incredible panoramic view. It has turned into an absolutely gorgeous afternoon here, but I'm starting to get a little thirsty.
Good time for an aperitivo.
Bologna just isn't known for their food. They also have a really vibrant nightlife and bar scene here. Aperitivos are definitely a must if you're coming to Bologna, and we have a whole list for you that you should check out. I'm gonna put it right over Chris's face. You get a drink, and then you get some free finger foods with it. Usually it can range from a bag of chips. Sometimes you get meats and cheeses. It just depends on the bar. Now, while you're at your aperitivo, if you're looking for a wine that is unique to the Emilia-Romagna region, you can do Lambrusco, which is a red, and Pignoletto, which is the white. Both of these have just a little bit of carbonation due to natural fermentation. Something to know is that Lambrusco, even though it's a red, it is served cold. So if you're here in the summer, it is the best red wine that you can try.
And later on in the day, if you're hungry for dinner, which you absolutely will be after all this walking, these are some of the places that we definitely recommend to get you back. I'm gonna put it right over top of her face. My personal favorite, I think Sam's too, is Trattoria da Me. There's actually two locations for that. The one we like is actually in an old tower. So it's a really cool location, really cool ambiance, and just an environment to have dinner in.
We hope you've enjoyed our one-day guide to Bologna. After dinner, we're gonna assume that you're popping on a train to head back to either Florence or Milan or wherever you came from. Bologna is so much fun and just the tip of the iceberg for what you can do here. Thank y'all so much for watching. It is amazing that you guys have stuck around this long in the video. We have so many great things planned for Bologna. We're gonna have so many videos about beer and cocktails and wine.
And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more of our adventures. We'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, y'all.